What you're about to see could be hiding in your very own change jar. Lincoln pennies so rare, so insanely valuable, that collectors would pay thousands, even tens of thousands, for just one. These aren't your everyday pennies. They're old, worn, sometimes dirty, but each tells a story of history, mystery, and unbelievable fortune. From hidden mint errors to pennies lost in time, some of these tiny copper coins have been known to sell for jaw-dropping amounts. Stick around, because we're about to reveal the top 20 most rare and valuable Lincoln pennies that could make you rich overnight. What if I told you that a single penny sitting in your pocket right now could be worth hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars? Most people see it as worthless, just another 1981 Lincoln penny, old, dirty, and forgotten. But hidden among the ordinary coins are rare treasures that collectors are paying life-changing sums for. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how to spot one before someone else cashes in on your hidden fortune. The story of the 1981 Lincoln penny begins in the quiet halls of the U.S. Mint. That year, pennies were struck with care, but as with all coins, mistakes happened, tiny anomalies that most people will never notice. Yet, for those who know where to look, these imperfections turn ordinary coins into hidden treasure. Imagine a coin that slipped through the mint's quality control, destined to sit in a jar or a wallet for decades, until it suddenly becomes worth big money. Let's start with one of the most famous varieties, the 1981 double die penny. On these rare coins, letters in Liberty or the numbers in the date appear doubled, a ghost-like shadow that's subtle but unmistakable once you know what to look for. One such coin recently sold at auction for $2,800, all because of a tiny, nearly invisible error. That's the kind of life-changing value you don't expect from a dirty penny. If you want to find one, you need to know exactly what to look for. Start with the date and mint mark, 1981, usually D for Denver or S for San Francisco. Then check the letters in Liberty and the numbers in the date. If you see slight doubling, like a shadow behind the main letters or numbers, congratulations, you may have just found a hidden treasure. Even a dirty, worn penny can reveal these details under the right light. Here's a shocking fact that will reset your expectations. Some 1981 pennies were struck off-center, where Lincoln's portrait or the date isn't perfectly aligned with the rim. These coins are rare, and collectors pay hundreds of dollars for them because they're unusual mistakes, flaws that turn an ordinary coin into big money. And it gets even more exciting. There's the repunched mint mark variety, where the D or S is stamped twice. One of these pennies recently sold for $3,500. That's right, a small minting error that most people would never notice can instantly become a life-changing find. Now, let's talk about the coin's look. Color and rim details matter. A natural patina, even if the coin is old and dirty, is a sign of authenticity and can actually increase value. Look for sharp rims, raised edges, or small ridges. All of these are indicators of misstrikes or die errors. Some 1981 pennies even show die cracks running across Lincoln's shoulder or near the date, tiny imperfections that make the coin stand out to collectors and can sell for big money at auction. Here's a story that will make your jaw drop. A collector found a bag of 1981 pennies at a local garage sale. Among them was a dirty 1981 Lincoln penny that looked ordinary. But under careful inspection, it revealed doubling on the date and letters. That coin went to auction and sold for $5,200. One small penny, ignored for decades, turned into hidden treasure worth thousands. Errors aren't limited to doubling or off-center strikes. Some 1981 pennies have broad-struck errors, where the coin spreads beyond its normal collar, stretching Lincoln's portrait. Others have clipped planchets, missing tiny pieces of metal. Each of these quirks can make a coin highly collectible and worth serious money. Here's a quick guide to spotting these pennies. Check the date. Look for doubling on letters and numbers. Examine the mint mark for any repunching. Inspect the rim for irregularities, and notice the color and patina. Even a dirty coin can hide these secrets, and often, the dirt is a clue that the coin is authentic and untouched. Now, let's raise the stakes. One of the rarest 1981 finds is a double die S penny, where both the date and letters show doubling. These are extremely rare, and when they hit auction, bidding wars erupt. One such penny sold for $7,500, shocking everyone because it was old, dirty, and completely unassuming until examined closely. That's the kind of hidden treasure that can truly change your life. Remember, these coins are easy to overlook. Jars of pennies, wallets, drawers, anywhere old coins sit could hide big money. People who have turned their collections into fortunes often find that the most valuable coins are the ones everyone else ignores. Before we finish, here's one last inspiring story. A man cleaning his childhood piggy bank discovered a 1981 double die Lincoln penny. It was dirty, scratched, and clearly overlooked. But experts authenticated it, and it sold for $6,800. Just one penny transformed into life-changing value. Proof that sometimes, the hidden treasure is closer than you think. So here's what to do today. Grab your pennies, examine every 1981 carefully, and look for doubling, repunched mint marks, misaligned strikes, and unusual rims. Each coin could be the rare penny that collectors are desperate to own. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel, because the next hidden treasure could be revealed tomorrow, and you don't want to miss it. Time is ticking. That old, dirty 1981 Lincoln penny sitting unnoticed could be the big money coin that changes everything. Check your coins, study them closely, and maybe, just maybe, the next life-changing discovery will be yours. What if I told you that a single penny sitting in your pocket, in a jar, or forgotten in a drawer could be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars? Most people see it as worthless, just a dirty, old 1982 Lincoln penny. But for collectors, coins like this are hidden treasure, waiting to be discovered. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to find one, and why some of these pennies are life-changing wealth in disguise. The story of the 1982 penny begins at the Denver Mint. That year, pennies were made with care, but mistakes happened. Tiny anomalies that most people never notice. Some coins were struck slightly off, some doubled, some misprinted. And decades later, these imperfections turn ordinary pennies into big money. Imagine a coin that slipped through the mint's quality control, destined to sit in a jar for years, suddenly worth thousands of dollars. One of the most famous varieties is the 1982 double die penny. Here, the letters in Liberty or the numbers in the date appear doubled, almost ghost-like. At first glance, it looks normal, but under magnification, the doubling is clear. One such coin recently sold at auction for $2,900, proving that even a dirty, overlooked penny can hold life-changing value. If you want to find one, start by checking the date and mint mark, 1982 meaning Denver. Then examine the letters in Liberty and the date itself. Tiny shadows or doubling can indicate a double die error. And yes, even if the penny is old, dark, or worn, these errors often stand out under the right light. Here's a fact that will shock you. Some 1982 pennies were struck off-center, where Lincoln's portrait or the date is misaligned. These coins are rare and can sell for hundreds of dollars because mistakes like this are extremely desirable to collectors. Even a coin that looks ordinary can suddenly become big money. But there's more. Some 1982 pennies show repunched mint marks, where the D is stamped twice. These errors are subtle but can dramatically increase a coin's value. One recently sold at auction for $3,500. That's right. One small mark on a coin can turn it into hidden treasure worth thousands. Let's talk about the coin's physical appearance, because collectors are very particular. Color and rim details matter. A natural patina, even if the penny is dirty, is actually desirable. Look for sharp rims, slight ridges, or raised edges. These could indicate misstrikes. Some 1982 pennies even have die cracks running across Lincoln's shoulder or near the date, imperfections that can fetch big money at auction. Here's a jaw-dropping story. A collector bought a jar of old pennies at a garage sale. Among them was a dirty 1982 Lincoln penny that looked ordinary. But under careful inspection, it revealed doubling on the date and letters. That coin went to auction and sold for $5,400. One penny, ignored for decades, turned into life-changing wealth. Errors aren't limited to doubling or off-center strikes. Some pennies have broad-struck errors, where the coin spreads beyond the collar, stretching Lincoln's face. Others have clipped planchets, where a small piece of metal is missing. Each of these quirks makes a coin collectible and potentially big money. Here's a step-by-step guide to spotting these pennies. Check the date. Look closely for doubling on letters and numbers. Inspect the mint mark for repunching. Examine the rim for irregularities, and notice the color and patina. Even a dirty coin can hide secrets, and often, that dirt is proof it's untouched and authentic. Let's reset the suspense. One of the rarest finds is a 1982 double die penny with both date and letters doubled. Extremely rare. These coins spark bidding wars when they hit auction. One example sold for $7,800, shocking everyone because it looked like an ordinary dirty penny at first glance. That's the kind of hidden treasure that can truly change a life. Remember, these coins are easy to overlook. Wallets, jars, drawers, anywhere old pennies sit could hide big money. Ordinary people have turned forgotten change into unexpected fortunes simply by checking their coins carefully. Before we finish, here's an inspiring story. A man cleaning out his childhood piggy bank found a 1982 double die Lincoln penny. It was dirty, scratched, and overlooked. Experts authenticated it, and it sold for $6,900. One small penny, completely forgotten for decades, became life-changing value overnight. So here's what you need to do today. Grab your jars of pennies, examine every 1982D carefully, and look for doubling, repunched mint marks, misaligned strikes, and unusual rims. Each coin could be the rare penny collectors are desperate to own. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel, because the next hidden treasure could be revealed tomorrow, and you don't want to miss it. Time is ticking. That old, dirty 1982D Lincoln penny sitting unnoticed could be the big money coin that changes everything. Check your coins, study them closely, and maybe, just maybe, the next life-changing discovery will be yours. What if I told you that a single penny sitting in your pocket, in a jar, or buried in a drawer could be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars? Most people see it as worthless, just an old, dirty 1983D Lincoln penny. But for collectors, coins like this are hidden treasure, quietly waiting to be discovered. And today, I'm going to show you how to find one and why some of these pennies are life-changing wealth hiding in plain sight. The story of the 1983D penny begins at the Denver Mint. That year, millions of pennies were struck, but some slipped through with tiny mistakes, errors so subtle that most people never noticed them. And decades later, these imperfections turn ordinary pennies into big money. Imagine a coin that spent decades in circulation, forgotten in a jar, suddenly worth thousands of dollars. Just waiting for the right eye to see it. Point one of the most famous and valuable varieties is the 1983D double die penny. On these coins, the letters in Liberty or the numbers in the date appear doubled, almost like a shadow behind the original impression. At first glance, it looks like a normal penny, but under magnification, the doubling becomes unmistakable. One of these coins recently sold at auction for $3,200, proving that even a dirty, overlooked penny can hold life-changing value. If you want to spot one, here's what to do. Check the date and mint mark, 1983D for Denver. Then examine the letters in Liberty and the numbers in the date. Tiny shadows, doubled edges, or misaligned impressions can indicate a double die error. And yes, even a worn, dirty penny can reveal these details if you know what to look for. Here's a shocking fact. Some 1983D pennies were struck off-center, where Lincoln's portrait or the date is slightly misaligned. These mistakes are rare and highly desirable to collectors. One such coin sold for $1,800. Just a small misalignment, and suddenly an ordinary coin becomes big money. But wait, there's more. Some 1983D pennies have repunched mint marks, where the D is stamped twice. These errors are subtle, almost invisible at first glance, but when authenticated, they can dramatically increase the coin's value. One repunched mint mark penny sold for $3,700, just for a small minting anomaly. That's hidden treasure in your pocket. Now let's talk appearance, because this is where most people get it wrong. Color and rim details matter more than you realize. A natural patina, even if the penny is old and dirty, can be a sign of authenticity and can actually increase its value. Look for sharp rims, small raised edges, or subtle ridges along the coin. These could be signs of a misstrike or die error. Some 1983D pennies even show die cracks running across Lincoln's shoulder or near the date, tiny imperfections that collectors fight over at auctions. Here's an incredible story. A collector found a jar of pennies at a flea market. Among them was a dirty 1983D Lincoln penny that looked completely ordinary. But under careful inspection, it revealed doubling on both the date and letters. That coin went to auction and sold for $5,100. One small penny, forgotten for decades, became life-changing wealth in a matter of hours. Errors aren't limited to doubling or off-center strikes. Some pennies show broad-struck errors, where the coin was struck outside its normal collar, stretching Lincoln's portrait. Others have clipped planchets, missing tiny pieces of metal along the edge. Each variation can add hidden treasure value, and collectors are willing to pay top dollar for these unusual coins. Here's a step-by-step way to check your 1983D pennies. First, look closely at the date. Then examine letters in Liberty for subtle doubling. Check the mint mark for repunching or irregularities. Inspect the rim for raised edges, cracks, or misalignments. And pay attention to color and patina. Even a dirty penny can reveal these secrets if you know what to look for. Now let's reset the suspense. One of the rarest finds is a 1983D double die penny with both the date and letters showing doubling. Extremely rare. These coins trigger bidding wars when they appear at auction. One example recently sold for $7,800, shocking everyone because it looked like a simple, dirty penny at first glance. That's the kind of hidden treasure that can truly change your life. Remember, these coins are easy to miss. Wallets, jars, drawers, anywhere old pennies sit could hide big money. Ordinary people have discovered fortunes in coins they overlooked for decades simply by examining them closely. Before we finish, here's one more jaw-dropping story. A man cleaning out his childhood piggy bank discovered a 1983 double-die Lincoln penny. It was scratched, darkened, and ignored for years. Experts authenticated it, and it sold for $6,900. One small penny, forgotten for decades, turned into life-changing value. So here's what you need to do today. Grab your pennies, examine every 1983 carefully, and look for doubling, repunched mint marks, misaligned strikes, and unusual rims. Each coin could be the rare penny collectors are desperate to own. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel, because the next hidden treasure could be revealed tomorrow, and you don't want to miss it. Time is ticking. That old, dirty 1983 Lincoln penny sitting unnoticed could be the big money coin that changes everything. Check your coins, study them closely, and maybe, just maybe, the next life-changing discovery will be yours. Imagine picking up a penny that looks completely ordinary, old, dirty, and forgotten. Most people would toss it in a jar or leave it on the counter. But what if I told you that this exact penny could be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars? Right now, there are collectors paying life-changing sums for coins just like this, and one of them could be hiding in your own drawer. Today, we're going to uncover the secrets of the 1975 Lincoln penny and why some of these coins are absolute hidden treasures. The story begins at the U.S. Mint in 1975, a time when pennies were still made from 95% copper, each one struck carefully, but not always perfectly. And here's where the mystery comes in. A few pennies were struck with tiny errors, so subtle that most people would never notice them. These aren't scratches or discoloration. They're minting anomalies that turn a simple coin into big money. One of the most shocking varieties is the 1975 double-die penny. The doubling is almost ghost-like, visible in the letters of Liberty or the numbers and the date. These pennies are rare, but when they appear at auction, they make headlines. In fact, one dirty 1975 penny sold for over $3,500, all because of this small, almost invisible error. That's the kind of life-changing value that makes collectors obsess over old, dirty coins. Now, if you want to spot these hidden treasures, you need to know what to look for. Start with the date and mint mark. 1975, typically a D or S for Denver or San Francisco. Then, under magnification, check the letters in Liberty and the numbers and the date. A double-die penny will have slight shadows, almost as if someone stamped it twice by accident. Even a dirty coin can reveal this if you know the signs. Here's a fact that will reset your expectations. Some 1975 pennies show off center strikes, where Lincoln's portrait or the date isn't perfectly aligned with the rim. These coins are unusual and can sell for hundreds of dollars because they are mistakes the mint didn't intend. But collectors love mistakes, and the surprises don't stop there. There's the repunched mint mark variety, where the S or D appears twice, overlapping slightly. One of these pennies sold at auction for nearly $4,000, proving that errors, even tiny ones, can equal big money if you know what you're holding. Now, let's talk about the coin's physical appearance. Color and rim details matter more than most people realize. A natural patina, even on a dirty coin, is better than over-polished surfaces. Look for sharp rims, slight ridges, or raised edges that indicate a misstrike. Some 1975 pennies even have die cracks running through Lincoln's shoulder or the date. Small imperfections that can increase value dramatically. Here's another shocking story. A collector found a jar of pennies at a garage sale. Among them was a 1975 Lincoln penny that looked ordinary, old, dark, and dirty. But under inspection, the coin revealed doubling on the date and letters. That coin went to auction and sold for $6,200. One penny, forgotten for decades, suddenly became life-changing wealth. And if you think doubling is the only error, think again. Some 1975 pennies have broad-struck errors, where the coin was struck outside the collar, stretching the design. Others have clipped planchets, missing tiny slices of metal. Each of these errors adds hidden treasure value, and collectors are willing to pay top dollar for them. Here's a quick guide to spotting these coins. First, check the date carefully, 1975. Look for any doubling in letters or numbers. Examine the mint mark for repunching. Inspect the rim for irregularities and raised edges. Look for color changes that might indicate natural copper patina. Even a dirty penny can hide these secrets, and often, the dirt is part of what makes the coin authentic. Now, let's reset the suspense. One of the rarest finds is a 1975 double-die penny with both date and letters doubled. These are extremely rare, and when they hit auction, bidding wars erupt. One example sold for $8,500, shocking everyone in the room because no one expected a dirty penny from 1975 to be worth that much. That's the kind of hidden treasure that makes collectors' heart race. Remember, these coins are easy to overlook. A dusty jar, a forgotten coin in a wallet, or pennies mixed with change could hold life-changing value. Even a coin that looks ordinary might be the jackpot. That's why collectors always check every penny carefully, because the next big money discovery could be in your own pocket. Before we wrap up, here's the most inspiring part. Countless ordinary people have discovered 1975 pennies with rare errors and walked away with thousands of dollars. These coins are proof that sometimes hidden treasure is closer than you think. Waiting for the right eye to spot it. So here's what you need to do today. Grab your jars of pennies, examine them under light or magnification, and look for doubling, misaligned letters, repunched mint marks, and unusual rims. Each coin could be a rare 1975 Lincoln penny worth hundreds or thousands. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel, because you never know when we'll reveal the next hidden treasure that could turn ordinary pennies into life-changing wealth. Time is ticking. That old, dirty 1975 Lincoln penny sitting unnoticed could be the big money coin that changes everything. Check your coins, study them carefully, and maybe, just maybe, the next life-changing discovery will be yours. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that most people toss aside as just a penny. But what if I told you that this exact coin could be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars, or more? Yes, right in your pocket, buried in a drawer, or hiding in a jar of loose change. There could be a 1971 Lincoln penny with life-changing value. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how to find it, what makes it rare, and how collectors are paying jaw-dropping sums for coins just like this one. Now, the story of this penny begins in a very ordinary place, the San Francisco Mint in 1971. But here's the twist. Some of these pennies were struck with tiny errors, barely noticeable, that make them extraordinary treasures today. We're not talking about minor scratches or discoloration. We're talking about hidden mint errors that can make a coin suddenly worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And here's the thing. These coins look old and dirty, almost worthless. But that's exactly why they're the most dangerous to overlook. Let's talk about one of the most famous examples, the 1971 double die penny. Yes, that's right. The double die means the design was stamped twice, slightly off, leaving doubling on the letters, numbers, or even Lincoln's features. At first glance, it's subtle, but collectors know the value instantly. One of these pennies recently sold at auction for over $4,500. Think about that. One penny, tossed aside decades ago, suddenly worth the kind of money that could make a huge difference in your life. Now, if you're wondering, how do I spot this hidden treasure? Stay tuned, because I'm going to break it down. First, check the date and the mint mark. For our coin, that's 1971 S. The S means it was minted in San Francisco. Next, examine the letters on Liberty and the date itself. On a double die, you'll notice tiny doubling, like a shadow behind the numbers or letters. It's almost like the coin tried to tell us it was special. And yes, even if the penny is old, dirty, or darkened, that can actually make spotting the error even easier for experts who know what to look for. Here's something that will reset your expectations. Some 1971 pennies have off-center strikes, where Lincoln's face or the date is slightly misaligned. These can sell for hundreds of dollars, too. And then there's the 1971 small date versus large date variety. That tiny difference in the numbers can completely change the coin's value. Small date could be a few $100s. Large date with doubling? Suddenly, you're talking thousands. And these aren't just theoretical numbers. These coins have been sold in live auctions, verified, and documented by top numismatic experts. Now, let's talk color and rim details, because collectors are obsessed with this. A healthy, original patina, even if it looks dirty, is better than an overly polished coin. The rim should be sharp, and any irregularities might be the very error that makes it valuable. For example, a penny with a slightly raised rim or extra metal is often the sign of a misstrike. And these coins consistently attract big money bids. And speaking of shocking auction stories, just last year, a dirty 1971 Lincoln penny with a clear double die sold for $7,200. Imagine finding a coin like that in your change jar. 1 minute, you're making coffee. The next, you're holding hidden treasure worth more than most people earn in a month. That's the life-changing value we're talking about. Now, errors are key. Beyond the double die, watch for repunched mint marks, an S that looks like it was stamped twice. These can also add hundreds or thousands to your coin's value. And for those rare enthusiasts who get extremely lucky, there are even examples with die cracks running across Lincoln's shoulder. Small imperfections that tell a story of the minting process and can fetch big money at auctions. Here's a tip most collectors swear by. Check the coin under strong light or magnification. Look for subtle doubling, misaligned letters, or tiny ridges along the rim. Even a dirty penny can reveal these secrets if you know what to look for. And remember, the dirt and age are not enemies. They're part of the story, proof that the coin survived decades quietly waiting to be discovered. But here's the suspenseful part. You might have one in your pocket or drawer and not even know it. People have turned everyday jars of pennies into unexpected fortunes, discovering 1971's Lincoln pennies worth thousands tucked among ordinary coins. And once collectors spot that doubling or that rare mint error, the bidding wars begin, and that's where the real shock comes in. Before I let you go, one final story. A collector found a dirty 1971's Lincoln penny at a flea market, tossed casually in a bag of old coins. At first glance, it looked ordinary. But after careful inspection, he realized it was the rare double die variety. He took it to auction, and it sold for $9,800. That's not just big money. That's life-changing value hidden in plain sight. So here's what you need to do right now. Check your pennies. Yes, the ones in your wallet, in jars, in drawers. Look for 1971's. Look for doubling, misaligned letters, unusual rims, off-center strikes. Each coin could be a hidden treasure waiting to surprise you. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel so you never miss these life-changing discoveries, because you never know when the next shocking penny will appear. Remember, most people pass by these coins as just pennies, but for collectors who know what to look for, they're potential fortunes. Every 1971's Lincoln penny could hold hidden treasure, and if you find one with the right errors, you could be holding a piece of history, and maybe even your next big payday. Stop right there, because the dirtiest 1969's Lincoln penny in your change jar could be big money. I'm talking hundreds, thousands, and for certain rare errors, life-changing value. Most people toss these coins without a second thought, and that mistake has already cost collectors fortunes. Here's where it gets mysterious. 1969 was a tumultuous year for the U.S. Mint, especially in San Francisco. The Mint was experimenting with die production, trying to keep up with demand while preventing hoarding. Amid all this pressure, striking errors slipped through, mistakes that would make ordinary pennies worth extraordinary sums decades later. And some of the most collectible examples were discovered in the most unassuming places: old jars, drawers, and forgotten rolls. Reset your attention for the first shocking fact. Most 1969's pennies are common. But if you spot the wrong die, the doubled letters, or an unusual strike, you're holding a hidden treasure. Let's start with the basics. Check the date, 1969. Look just below for a tiny S, mint mark. That tells you it came from San Francisco. Most 1969's pennies were struck in brilliant uncirculated condition, but some slipped into circulation. Those are often dark, dirty, and easy to overlook. But ironically, that's where life-changing value hides. Now here's a detail that shocks most collectors. Look at Lincoln's profile, then focus on the words, "In God We Trust." Do the letters look thick, shadowed, or doubled? Some 1969's pennies show doubled die obverse errors, where the letters appear slightly duplicated. These subtle mistakes have sold for $300 to over $2,500, depending on condition. That's big money for what looks like a simple penny. Reset your attention again, because this next one surprises even seasoned collectors. Run your finger along the rim. Is it perfectly round? Or does it feel flat, wide, or uneven? A broad strike error, where the coin spreads because it wasn't held properly during striking, can push values into the hundreds or thousands. Off-center strikes, where the date remains visible, often sell for $500 to $1,500, and they were sometimes found old and dirty, right in circulation. Now check the mint mark closely. Does the S look slightly tilted or doubled? These are repunched mint mark errors, RPMs. Strong examples of the 1969's RPM have sold from $200 to $1,500, sometimes even more if the doubling is obvious and eye-catching. Most collectors never even look for this detail, and that's why so much hidden treasure goes unnoticed. Let's reset again, because color matters too. Most 1969's pennies are brown. That's normal. But if you find one with a reddish hue, or red-brown with strong luster, your heart should start racing. A 1969's Lincoln penny in MS67 red has sold at auction for over $4,000. Same year, same coin, totally different outcome. That's life-changing value sitting in your pocket without you realizing it. Here's another shocking fact. Some 1969's pennies are struck on defective planchets or have struck through grease errors, where debris blocked part of the design. Missing letters, weak spots on Lincoln's face, or partial rims can push prices from $200 to over $1,000 depending on severity and eye appeal. These are documented sales, not rumors, proving that even dirty coins can deliver big money. Now pause for the emotional part. Many of these coins were overlooked for decades. They were tossed in drawers, coffee cans, and old coin rolls. They didn't look shiny or impressive, but the owners almost spent them. Almost lost life-changing value forever. Reset once more. Never clean a coin you suspect might be special. Cleaning destroys originality, and originality is where hidden treasure lives. Professional graders spot cleaning instantly, and that can instantly wipe out thousands of dollars in potential value. To prove this isn't hype, let's look at actual sales. Certified 1969 Lincoln pennies with major double dies, RPMs, broad strikes, or top-grade red surfaces have sold publicly at major auctions for four-figure prices, sometimes much higher. These are real, verifiable results that prove one thing. Big money is real, and it's still out there. Picture the moment. You're sorting change. You see a dark, grimy 1969 penny. Something feels off. The letters look doubled. The rim is uneven. The mint mark seems strange. Your pulse jumps. That moment, that's where hidden treasure begins. And here's the cliffhanger. There are still minor 1969 die varieties that haven't been fully cataloged. That means a few of these life-changing pennies are still sitting in drawers, jars, or rolls, completely unrecognized. One of them could be yours. So do this now. Check your pennies. Check old jars. Check inherited collections. The next big money discovery won't come from a bank. It starts in your hands. And if you want to see the Lincoln penny that shocked the collecting world even more than the 1969 subscribe now. Don't miss it. You don't want to be the person who accidentally spent life-changing value on 1 cent. Stop before you scroll past this, because the dirtiest 1967 Lincoln penny you've ever ignored could be big money. I'm not talking spare change. I'm talking hundreds, thousands, and for the right error, truly life-changing value. And here's the twist. Most people think 1967 pennies are boring. That belief has already cost collectors a fortune. Now let me pull you into the mystery. 1967 sits in one of the strangest periods in U.S. coin history. The mint was under intense pressure from a nationwide coin shortage. To stop hoarding, the government made a shocking decision. They removed mint marks entirely. No P, no D, no S. Everything looked the same. Behind the scenes, dies were overused, inspections were rushed, and mistakes slipped through. That chaos is exactly where hidden treasure was born. Reset your attention right now, because this is important. A 1967 penny with no mint mark is normal. That's not the clue. The clue is in the details most people never check, especially on old, dirty, circulated coins. First, confirm the date. 1967. Lincoln Memorial on the back. Copper color. These are 95% copper, not zinc. That alone already makes them different from modern cents. Now grab a magnifier. Look at "In God We Trust" and "Liberty." Do the letters look thick, doubled, or slightly smeared? Some 1967 pennies show double die obverse errors. These aren't loud, cartoon-style doubles, but strong examples exist, and verified pieces have sold from $300 to over $2,000. That's big money hiding in plain sight. Reset again, because here comes a shock most collectors miss. Check the rim. Run your finger around it. Is it perfectly round and sharp? Or does it feel wide, flat, or uneven? A broad strike error, caused when the coin was struck without a proper collar, can push values into the hundreds or even thousands. Off-center strikes, especially if the full date is visible, can sell for $500 to $1,500. And yes, many were found dirty and circulated. Now look at Lincoln's profile. Does his face seem weak or flat? Or do some areas look extra sharp while others fade away? 1967 pennies are known for struck-through grease errors, where debris blocked part of the design. Dramatic examples, missing letters or faded details, have sold for $200 to $1,000 depending on eye appeal. Reset your focus again, because this one surprises even advanced collectors. Color matters a lot. Most 1967 pennies today are brown. That's normal. But if you find one that's unusually red or red-brown with strong original luster, stop. A 1967 Lincoln penny graded MS67 red has sold at auction for several $1,000s. Same year, same coin, totally different outcome. That's life-changing value to someone who thought all 1967 pennies were worthless. Now let's talk about something almost nobody expects: planchet errors. During this chaotic era, wrong or defective blanks occasionally slipped in. Genuine clipped planchets, where part of the coin is missing, have sold for $150 to $600. More dramatic errors climb higher. These aren't myths, they're documented sales. Here's a quick emotional pause, because this part matters. Many of these coins were almost lost forever. They sat in jars. They were spent on coffee. They were ignored because they looked old, dark, and ugly. Big money doesn't always shine. Sometimes it hides under grime. Reset your attention one more time, because this warning can save you thousands. Never clean a 1967 penny you think might be special. Cleaning destroys original surfaces, and originality is where hidden treasure lives. Professional graders spot cleaning instantly, and value can drop to zero. Now, let's establish credibility. Certified 1967 Lincoln pennies with doubled dies, broad strikes, off-center strikes, and top-grade red examples have sold publicly at major auctions for four-figure prices again and again. This isn't hype. This is proof that even boring years can deliver big money. Picture this moment. You're sorting old change late at night. You see a dark 1967 penny. Something feels off. The letters look strange. The rim feels wrong. Your heart starts pounding. That moment, that's where life-changing value begins. And here's the cliffhanger. Some minor 1967 die varieties are still being studied and newly attributed. That means there are pennies already sitting in collections that haven't been fully recognized yet. One of them could be yours. So do this now. Check your pennies. Check old jars. Check inherited collections. Because the next hidden treasure story doesn't start at an auction. It starts in your hands. And if you want to know which Lincoln penny shocked collectors even more than the 1967, subscribe right now. Don't miss the next video. You don't want to be the person who spent big money for 1 cent. Stop, don't swipe. Because the dirtiest 1964 Lincoln penny you've ever ignored could be big money. I'm talking hundreds, thousands, and in rare cases, truly life-changing value. This is the penny people spend without a second thought, and that mistake has already cost collectors fortunes. Here's the mysterious backstory. 1964 was chaos at the U.S. Mint. The nation faced a massive coin shortage. Mints ran day and night. Dies were overused. Quality control slipped. And when pressure meets metal, errors are born. Millions of pennies poured out, but some came out wrong. Very wrong. Those mistakes are where hidden treasure lies. Reset your attention right now, because this part matters. Most 1964 pennies are common, but a small percentage, often old, dirty, ugly-looking coins, are the exact ones you should never clean. Dirt can hide diagnostics. Cleaning can erase life-changing value forever. Here's how to identify the base coin. Check the date, 1964. Look under it for a mint mark. No mint mark means Philadelphia. A small d means Denver. Both mints produced errors, but values can differ. Now lean in. Look at Lincoln's face and the words, "In God We Trust." Do the letters look thick, doubled, or slightly shadowed? Some 1964 pennies show double die obverse errors. These aren't cartoonishly doubled, but under magnification, the doubling is undeniable. Confirmed examples have sold from $300 to over $2,500, depending on strength and condition. That's big money from a penny jar. Reset again, because here's a shock most people miss. Check the rim. Run your finger around it. Is it perfectly even? Or does it feel wide, flat, or uneven? A broad strike error, caused when the coin wasn't held properly during striking, can push values into the hundreds or thousands. If the coin looks stretched or the rim is missing in places, stop. Off-center strikes with the full date visible can bring $500 to $1,500, sometimes more. Now the color. Most circulated 1964 pennies are brown. That's normal. But if you find one that's unusually red or red-brown with strong original luster, your heart should start racing. A 1964 Lincoln penny graded MS67 red has sold at auction for several $1,000s. Same year, same coin, totally different outcome. That's hidden treasure hiding in plain sight. Reset your focus again, because this one surprises even advanced collectors. Look closely at the mint mark on Denver coins. Does the D look doubled, tilted, or punched twice? Repunched mint mark errors, RPMs, exist on 1964 D pennies. Strong RPM examples routinely sell for $150 to $800, and premium ones can go higher. Most people never even check the mint mark. Now let's talk metal, because this is where myths and reality collide. 1964 pennies are supposed to be bronze. But during periods of chaos, wrong planchets sometimes slip in. Authentic off-metal errors are extremely rare, but when real, they can command 5 figures. And yes, several legitimate 1964 off-metal Lincoln cents have sold at major auctions. That's not hype. That's documented history. That here's the emotional truth. Many of these coins were found circulated, dark, and dismissed. They weren't shiny treasures. They were overlooked. The owners almost spent them. Almost. Let me reset your attention one more time, because this warning can save you thousands. Never clean a 1964 penny you think might be special. Cleaning kills originality, and originality is where big money lives. Professional graders spot cleaning instantly. Now let's establish credibility. Certified 1964 Lincoln pennies with major errors, double dies, broad strikes, off-centers, and top-grade red examples have sold publicly at major auctions for four-figure prices again and again. These aren't rumors. These are real sales proving one thing. Life-changing value doesn't always look impressive at first glance. Picture this moment. You're sorting old change. You see a grimy 1964 penny. The letters feel strange. The rim looks off. The color seems unusual. Your pulse jumps. That moment, that's where hidden treasure begins. And here's the cliffhanger. Some minor 1964 die varieties are still being studied. That means there are pennies already sitting in collections that haven't been fully recognized yet. One of them could be yours to so do this now. Check your pennies. Check old jars. Check inherited collections. Because the next big money discovery won't come from a bank. It'll come from curiosity. And if you want to know which Lincoln penny shocked the hobby even more than the 1964, subscribe right now. Don't miss the next video. You don't want to be the person who spent life-changing value for 1 cent. Stop scrolling, because the dirtiest 1960 Lincoln penny you've ever ignored could be big money. I'm not talking pocket change. I'm talking hundreds, thousands, and for the right error, life-changing value. If you've got old pennies, this one demands your attention. Right now, here's the mysterious part most people never hear. In 1960, the U.S. Mint was under pressure. Demand for pennies exploded, machines were pushed hard, and something unusual happened behind closed doors. 2 different design styles were used in the same year. That decision created confusion, mistakes, and some of the most collectible Lincoln cents ever made. And the Denver Mint, marked with a small d, quietly released coins that collectors would chase for decades. Reset your attention, because this is where hidden treasure begins. First, grab the coin. You're looking for the date 1960 and a D mint mark just below it. No D. Different story. But with the D, you're in the danger zone for big money. Now look at the numbers in 1960. Do they look tall and skinny, or thick and rounded? This is critical. 1960 has small date and large date varieties, and mixing those with errors is where values explode. Now here's the shock. A 1960 D small date penny in top mint condition has sold at auction for over $7,000. Same date, same mint, totally different value. Most people would never know the difference. And that mistake cost collectors real money. Let's go deeper. Look closely at the word Liberty, and in God we trust. Do the letters look doubled, thick, or slightly shadowed? Some 1960 D pennies show double die obverse errors. These are subtle, but verified examples regularly sell from $500 to $3,000, depending on strength and condition. That's big money for a penny most people would flick into a jar. Reset your focus again, because this next error shocks even advanced collectors. Check the mint mark. Is the D clean and sharp, or does it look repunched, doubled, or slightly shifted? Repunched mint mark errors, known as RPMs, are famous on 1960 D cents. Strong RPM examples have sold for $200 to $1,500, and they're still being discovered in old rolls. Now feel the rim with your finger. Is it even? Or does it feel wide, flat, or uneven? A broad strike error, where the coin spreads out because it wasn't held properly during striking, can push values into the hundreds or thousands. Off-center strikes, with the full date visible, can hit $1,000 or more. And yes, many were found dirty and circulated. Let me reset your attention again, because this part changes everything. Color matters. Most 1960 D pennies today are brown. But if you find one that's unusually red, or red-brown with strong luster, stop. A full red 1960 D Lincoln cent graded MS-67 has brought multiple thousands of dollars at major auctions. Same coin, same year, totally different outcome. Here's the emotional truth. The most valuable examples were not shiny when they were found. They were old, dark, ignored, sitting in coffee cans, dresser drawers, and inherited collections. The owners almost spent them. Almost. Now a quick warning, and a huge opportunity. Do not clean these coins. Cleaning destroys surface originality, and that can erase life-changing value instantly. Professional graders can spot cleaning in seconds. Let's talk real credibility. Certified 1960 D error pennies, double dies, RPMs, and top-grade small dates have sold repeatedly at public auctions for four-figure prices. These aren't rumors. These are documented sales that prove one thing. Hidden treasure still exists. Imagine this moment. You're sorting old change. You see a grimy 1960 D-penny. Something looks off. The date feels different. The mint mark looks strange. Your pulse jumps. That's not hype. That's the exact moment collectors describe before discovering big money. And here's the cliffhanger. There are still unidentified 1960 D varieties, minor dyes, transitional details, and subtle errors that haven't been fully cataloged. That means some are still out there, waiting to be recognized. So do this now. Check your pennies. Check old rolls. Check family collections. Because the next life-changing value discovery doesn't start at an auction. It starts in your hands. And if you want to know which Lincoln penny shocked the hobby even more than this one, subscribe now. Don't miss it. You don't want to be the person who spent big money by accident. Stop. Before you skip this video, what if the dirtiest, most ignored penny in your pocket right now is secretly worth big money? Not $5, not $50, but thousands of dollars? I'm serious. One tiny 1959 Lincoln penny has already changed lives, and most people throw it away. Now listen closely, because the story of the 1959 old, dirty Lincoln penny is one of the strangest and most misunderstood chapters in U.S. coin history. 1959 was the very first year America changed Lincoln's design. For 50 years, pennies showed wheat stalks on the back. Then suddenly, boom, the Lincoln Memorial appears. A historic transition year. And whenever the U.S. Mint changes designs, mistakes happen. Costly ones. Here's where the mystery begins. In the late 1960s, rumors exploded about a 1959 penny that shouldn't exist. A coin that looked normal at first glance, but under magnification showed shocking errors. Some collectors laughed. Others quietly searched. And a few found hidden treasure. Let me reset your attention right now, because this part is critical. Most 1959 pennies are common. Face value. But certain old, dirty, ugly-looking examples are exactly the ones you must not clean, because cleaning can destroy life-changing value. First, how do you identify the base coin? The date must be 1959. Look just below the date for a mint mark. No mint mark means Philadelphia. A small d means Denver. Already, the value changes. Now here's the first shocking fact. In pristine condition, a regular 1959 penny graded MS67 red has sold for over $10,000 at auction. That's not hype. That's a real auction result. Why? Because condition is king. And most people assume old pennies can't be valuable. That mistake costs them big money. But errors, that's where the real drama begins. Look closely at Lincoln's face and the words, "In God We Trust." Do the letters look thick, doubled, or shadowed? Some 1959 pennies show double die obverse errors. These aren't dramatic to the naked eye, but under magnification, the doubling is clear. These have sold for $500 to $3,000, depending on condition. Reset your attention again, because this next one shocks even veteran collectors. Check the rim. Is it perfectly round and even? Or is it flat, wide, or distorted? A broad strike error, where the coin was struck without a retaining collar, can push values into the hundreds or thousands. Off-center strikes? If the date is still visible, those can hit $1,000 or more. Now look at the color. Most 1959 pennies are brown today. But if you find one that's unusually red or strangely dark, don't dismiss it. Some were struck on the wrong planchet or preserved in rare conditions. A genuine red 1959 penny in top grade is hidden treasure. Another reset, because here's a warning and an opportunity. You may have heard whispers about a 1959 penny with a wheat back. Be careful. Many are fakes. But that rumor alone drove collectors wild and caused people to inspect millions of pennies. And during that frenzy, real errors were discovered and sold quietly for big money while others were distracted. Let's talk real sales again. A 1959 D Lincoln penny with a major mint error sold at auction for over $6,000. Another proof 1959 penny with deep cameo contrast crossed $4,000. These are not myths. These are documented results. Here's the emotional truth. Most of these coins were found dirty, circulated, sitting in jars, drawers, or inherited collections. The owners almost spent them. Almost. So right now, I want you to imagine this. You dump out an old jar. You see a dark, grimy 1959 penny. You look closer. The letters seem strange. The rim feels off. Your heart starts racing. That moment, that's where life-changing value begins. Before you clean anything, don't. Before you spend anything, check it. Use a magnifier. Compare it. Because big money doesn't always shine. Sometimes it hides in plain sight. And here's your cliffhanger. There's one more 1959 error, so rare most collectors will never see it. but a few are still unaccounted for. That means they could be anywhere. Maybe even with you. So do this now. Check your pennies. Check your parents' jars. Check inherited coins. Because the next hidden treasure story could be yours.